Hey everybody, I'm Marky Ramone, and this DVD is about punk rock drumming, the way I play it. So now we're going to get rolling. The first thing we're going to talk about is the snare drum. This is the most important drum in the whole set, in my opinion. This keeps the beat, the crack. You need that. And this is the tom-tom. This is called the top tom-tom, usually smaller than your floor tom-tom, which this is. You can have any sizes you want on your toms. This is basically a 4-piece set. This is a bass drum. This is a 26-inch. And you can vary. Everything varies. It's what you like. But in punk rock, 4-piece set is the best. This is the hi-hat. Very important in punk rock. Believe me, I'd rather have the hi-hat than the tom-toms. Hi-hat, snare drum, bass drum. This is the crash cymbal. This is the ride cymbal. And this is another crash cymbal. I keep it simple. 2 crash cymbals, ride cymbal, hi-hat, snare drum, 2 toms, bass drum. So I keep my drums very close because I play very fast. Rock drummers, metal drummers, and everybody has their own style. They'll usually play like this. So when you play punk rock, the reason why you keep the drums close is because you're doing this, or at least try to do this. You're going. So that's the difference between and what I just played. And also, I'm doing that on the floor tom. I'm doing this. Now, if they weren't close, it would take a lot longer to get to, and you would probably miss a beat or not come in properly after a drum fill. So that's the Marky Ramone setup. Sticks are very important to any drummer. The weight of the stick. This is the bead. This is the shoulder. When I play, I always hit the rim. It projects more. It's louder than just this. And I roll on it too. I roll on the rim. Okay, let me show you what I did before that. Now I'll hit the rim and the head at the same time in a drum roll. See the difference? It cuts more. To me, that's very important. It might eat up your sticks. That's why you might need an extra pair of sticks, but it sounds better. And I keep my toms a little tight so I can get some tone. Now the reason for that is because when I'm doing the 8th notes, the bounce is better when it comes off the skin. For instance, Now let's go to the bass drum. Okay, this is how I play it. Anybody can play it the way they want, but this is how I do it. I keep my ball, my foot, up a little bit instead of flat. It's a lot easier, and you'll get a lot more speed on the foot pedal. I keep the tension on my foot pedal in the middle. The spring is there to loosen or tighten the tension. So it's like this. It's much easier when it's in the middle than having the tension harder, because you won't be able to play as quick on that double bass drum thing that I just did. Here's an exercise that I can show you. That's why I keep my tension in the middle, because of the bounce back of the beater. And that's very important. If it's too loose, you're not going to get that feel. You won't be able to do it. If it's too tight, you won't be able to do it because it's too tight. So keep it in the middle. And again, it's different for everybody. Punk rock drumming to me is about eighth notes. Quarter note drumming to me is like metal, rock. This is a quarter note. This is the way a punk drummer should play it. Now, why? Because it fills in gaps. It creates a wall of sound. Now, when you're playing the quarter notes, there's a gap. When you play the eighth notes, there's no gap. That's the slow versions that I was playing for you. Now I'll speed it up a little bit. Okay. Here's quarter notes fast. Here's eighth notes fast. All right, actually that's really mid-tempo. So here's quarter notes really fast. Here's eighth notes really fast. So that's punk rock drumming. Now, how do I do that? I don't use my arm. Well, I use my arm because I have to hold my stick with my hand. Okay. I really use my fingers. I try not to be too much of this, like. You'll get tired in 10 minutes, believe me. So what I do is, here's my fingers, right here, and I'll just go. Okay, besides the hi-hat, I go to the right too when I do that at certain points of the song. Maybe the chorus, I'll go to the ride cymbal and continue those eighth notes like this. I'll go to the floor tom-tom and play the eighth notes too, the same way as I did on the ride cymbal and the hi-hat, like this. All right, what I just did, I'm going to show you in slow motion. See the fingers? Right here. So I hold the stick about 3/4 down the length of it, right here. This is what you call the fulcrum. Usually the fulcrum's in the center, so you know it's a balance. But here, as you can see, it's about 3/4 down. That helps me play the way I play. You, it could be different. You know, it's your style, your way. But this is the way I do it. So let me show it to you slow. Okay, I'm using my back fingers here. Very important. If you're going to be able to keep that up for an hour, or for how long your band plays if you're into punk rock drumming. Here's some warm-ups that I do before I play to make it easier. For instance, get your 2 sticks, wrap it around like this, just to loosen up the muscles. Both ways, like that. I'll do it again. Like that. And then this way. Like that. Okay. Here's another exercise I do to get the blood rushing to the hands and fingers. I usually do it on the hi-hat. So check this out. I'll do it slow first. Basically triplets. So I'll do it a little faster. I'm moving the back end and the front, back end and the front of the stick. So you loosen your wrist a little more on your fingers. Now I'll do it a little faster. Now we'll do it very fast. So you get to this point, at least you know you loosened up, really loosened up. So that's what I do for my warm-up on the stick part. And my right hand, I do this, because if I'm going to play those continuous eighth notes, you got to do other things alone with the one hand. So I'll go. That's slow. It's a little faster. I'm not using two hands. Now a little faster. Again, I'm using my fingers. Now a little faster. So if you do that, you'll feel the blood rushing into your hands. You'll be able to play better. Now, breathing is important. Breathing is very important. Some advice to you drummers out there, don't smoke, because it's not going to work. You're going to start huffing and puffing. Breathe deep, but don't let when you exhale, don't let it out. You know, you're not running, you're drumming. So try to just learn how to breathe better. Like, for instance, like this. I don't know if you know what I was doing there. I don't go nuts in the beginning of the set, because you got to pace yourself. So smoking is not going to help. I don't go into the set immediately crazy. You have to pace yourself. That's very important. I'm not going to end up doing this. Not going to do that. If you're going to do that, it looks like you're struggling. Nobody wants to see you struggling up there. You want to make it look easy, so you're like this. You take your time. There's no reason to make it like you're playing a contact sport. It's drumming. There's two different ways to hold your stick. This is called the match grip. This is called traditional grip. A lot of jazz drummers play this way. And a lot of rock drummers use the match grip. So it's whatever you like. The traditional grip is basically, like I said, jazz and marching drummers. And because the drum was on an angle, so it was easier to do rolls on that snare drum when they were marching, because it was over their shoulder. So it had to be a little more angled. So it was like. So that made it easier. But the match grip is more powerful because it's even. So you're going, and you're able to hit the rim and the skin together a lot harder. So you're going. Instead of. Because you might not hit the rim all the time. You might miss. So it's a lot more natural using it this way. I use the match grip for punk rock. That's what it's called for. But if I was in a room alone and just playing for myself, I would use the traditional grip. That's how I learned. I like holding the stick that way. I'm able to do double stroke rolls better. I'm able to play more of a jazz feel, like I just showed you before. I'll give you another example. So it's a lot easier holding the stick that way than playing it like this. It's better the other way if you're playing that style. But if you're a punk guy, I suggest the match grip. So again. Okay, when you start out, there are really two rolls you should know. That's a single stroke and a double stroke roll. Let me play you the harder one first. Here's the double stroke roll. So you're going bop, 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 bop on each stick until it gets faster and faster. For instance, so that's what they call a double stroke roll. Now here's a single stroke roll. Each stick is one at a time. That's a single stroke roll. I was doing it the traditional style. Let me try to do it the match grip style. Here's a double stroke roll, match grip style. That was a double stroke roll, match grip style. Now I'll try to attempt a single stroke roll, match grip style. Okay, remember, these are exercises, so you start off slow with the single stroke roll and the double stroke roll. So I'm going to go around the set with what I just did, so you get a better idea of how to play it on the whole set instead of just the snare drum. So I'll do the double stroke roll first. Let me do it a little faster. I'll do it a lot slower again. Okay, single stroke roll. So you can speed it up, slow it down. But the whole idea, it's an exercise. So start off slow, and then go fast. And then like anything else, slow down again. All right, we're going to do some punk beats now. That's the slow version of it. I'll play it a little faster. Here it is, a little faster. And here it is very fast. All right, this is what the bass drum did in that beat. It's simple, but if you speed it up and play it for a whole hour, it isn't. Here's another beat. I'll play it slow first. I'll play it a little faster now. Now I'll play it very fast. Now, this is what I'm doing with the bass drum. Now I'll do a little faster with the bass drum part. That's just another beat. Now you can do a very fast beat, and it goes like this. I call it the polka punk beat. A lot of the the southern LA punk bands, Orange County bands, will play like, like. Hey! 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 So playing that slower is like this. Hey! Hey! Now I'll play it fast. Okay, on that beat, I'm doing this. The bass drum and the hi-hat are doing the same thing, like this. I'll do it a little slower. Now I'll throw in a snare drum so it makes some sense. I'll do it a little slower. Hey! Hey! So that's what that is. Now I'm going to play some variations of the beats that I showed you, throwing in some different things. You can throw in what you like too. Again, it's up to the individual. So I'll start with the beat that I started with, which was now I'm going to vary it. I'm going to go to the ride cymbal, to the floor tom. So now, in every song, and especially in punk songs, there's your intro. You have a verse, a chorus, a bridge. Usually during the verse, I'll keep the hi-hat closed so the singer can be heard better. So you're going. Then when you go to the chorus, I would tend to go to the ride cymbal. Or, if you want to experiment a little more, you can go to the floor tom during the chorus. In the bridge of a song, you can go to the bell, which gives it a little more spark, like. But remember, the verse is really the part where the singer is singing alone, so you want to give him his space. So stick to the hi-hat, snare, and bass drum. Now, getting back to this beat. Go to the ride cymbal. Or you can go to the floor tom. You can play either eighth notes or the quarter notes on the floor tom. So I'm just going to duplicate what I just did on the hi-hat and the ride cymbal. Now the bass player of the band has to lock in with the drummer. The bass instrument is a percussion instrument, even though it has strings. So most of the time, the bass playing follows the drummer's bass drum pattern. He would have to play along with that. But in punk, the bass player should follow the hi-hat pattern, if they're able to do it. So if I'm playing this fast, bass player is going to have to do the downstroke eighth notes like that to create the wall of sound. Now he might not be able to do that. So what he will probably do is play quarter notes, go like this, or go up and down. But in punk, everybody has to follow the drummer's lead to keep it tight. Okay, now, the beats that I just showed you punk beats. But there are other songs that were in punk rock that I played beats to that were totally different. For instance, there's a song called Blank Generation that I did with a band called Richard Hell and the Voidoids. And it went like this. Now that's called the shuffle, but the song called for that. There will be punk songs that you'll be hearing or that you'll learn to play or want to play eventually when you write an original song. A different beat might be needed instead of just the usual. So don't limit yourself. Because that song, Blank Generation, is a very well-known punk song. So that was an example of it. I'll play it slow. Here's the bass drum pattern. Here it is a little faster, the bass drum pattern. Now I can vary that beat too. So here's a variation on that beat. I'll do that slower. So that's what that is. Punk's about attitude and about expressing what you feel in a song, hopefully under 3 minutes long, maybe 2 minutes long. And of course the beat is important. What I showed you, those two first beats, those are the main punk beats. But the shuffle isn't. But it's what the song is called for. And that's what I applied to it. That's what the writer wanted, and that's what you have to do. Now, putting a fill in a song where it belongs is the most important thing. Not doing fills every minute and taking somebody else's spotlight away. So, punk rock drumming also is about simplicity, about where to put what. And for example, that's really single stroke rolls. I'll play it again slower. You can go to your top tom from your snare, or you can go from your snare to your floor tom. I'll show you again. So I like to keep the 4/4 on the bass drum while I'm doing the roll to keep it full sounding. I'll play a little faster for you. Now what else I do, it's pretty interesting. It combines the two toms. So check this out. You have two different tones there. I'll play it a little faster. Play it a little faster. You know, this time I'll use the open hi-hat. So then you can also go all around the set. And I'll get to the ride cymbal after I finish with the hi-hat. So here it is going around the whole set. Or you could do it this way. All right, so now we're going to do faster with the hi-hat, snare, and the floor tom. Now I'm going to show you what I do when I'm on the ride, some fills. I'll do that a little slower. You can vary the beat if it's a 4/4 beat, for instance, like a surf song. All right, so here's some more options in punk beats that you could put some, well, they're not really show-off fills, but just things maybe a little faster and a little off the time. I'll play it slower for you. Now I'll play it fast. Here's the fill alone that I'm doing. I'll play the beat with that. All right, here it is one more time. Here's the beat with the fill. Here's some other fills that I incorporate in the beat that are a little faster. The single stroke rolls, but a little faster. All right, let me play that slow for you. Now you can throw in an offbeat, something totally from left field. So I'll show you something that I occasionally do. I'll play that a little slower. Here's some more fills with the 4/4 drum beat. Let me play that a little slower. And I'll play it faster again. And you can vary that a little bit. All right, now I'll do this slower. Okay, here it is now up to speed. All right, I'm going to play a fast beat, a punk beat, and I'll keep the fills simpler. Then you can alternate the fill to something else. I'll show you. All right, this is for you beginners out there. I'll go on the ride. Now I'm going to speed it up for you. Okay, the purpose of a drum fill, in my opinion, is to lead into a chorus, or coming out of a verse, or going into a bridge. Not doing a drum fill in the middle because you're going to interrupt the singing. That's not what a song is made for. Again, you got to put the fill in the right place. So really that's what a fill is. It's just, it leads in to each part of the song, and it can end each part of the song. So that's basically what I was just showing you, what kind of fills you can put in. But again, everybody has their own feel, so whatever fills you want to put in, go ahead, just as long as it fits. Okay, groove is very important, no matter what kind of genre of music you like. If it's too fast, you're not going to understand the words. The instruments aren't going to sound as full as they should be. So groove is important. It's part of human life. It's the way people walk, the way they talk, the way they chew their food. So I'll give you an example. Here's just the regular beat that I'm known to do. So it's now, if the song was written for that speed, that's the way it should go. A lot of times bands play live, and believe me, I've done it. They tend to speed the song up, and then the words are meaningless. And then it just doesn't flow right. So I'll give you an example, for instance. That might be too fast. And compared to the speed that I played before that, that would be wrong to do. But again, the adrenaline rush is live. So watch what you're doing. Because I did it, I did an album, and I liked the energy, but I didn't like the groove. So remember that, that's very important. A lot of bands like to play the way they did when they recorded on their albums, which is what most people are used to. So just remember that. Before I got into the punk scene at CBGB's, where it started, I was doing other forms of music. I was into hard rock, and the first band that I was in was called Dust. And we did a lot of different time changes. We played in 5/4, which is an extra beat besides the 4/4. And different drum fills, different rudiments. So, well, let me give you an example of a 5/4 beat. So this is what I played in one of the songs. It goes like this. Okay, I'm going to put the drumsticks down, and I'll attempt to show you how the bass drum is alone. Now I'll do it slower. Now I'll do it with the snare drum and the bass drum. Now I'll play along with the hi-hat. Now I'll speed it up again. Okay, here's another beat, and it's a 3/4 time beat. And this is traditional way of doing it. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now you can do it a different way, which is more rock and more jazz inspired, like. What I just played for you, I'll play slower, so you get a better idea. I'm gonna break down the 3/4 groove to you that I just played. First with the bass drum. So that's what that is. And you can vary it. You can go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I always like to hear myself play. And keep playing and believe in yourself. Don't smoke cigarettes. Don't drink too much. Definitely don't do drugs. And there is a lot more to learn. Remember, this was not a technical outing. It was about punk rock and just a little more. See you next time.